नमस्कार. माझं नाव मकरंद नागले. अ, मी इथे यूएसमध्ये राहतोय आणि फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आय वॉन्ट टू काँग्रॅच्युलेट CKP Education Society's 125th year anniversary. That's an amazing work everybody is doing who is involved in this particular uh, social activities. Really commendable. Today, I've been asked to cover a very unique and very different topic, which is about alternate energy or sustainable energy. Since I've been working in this space for almost last, I would say 15, 20 years. So I'm happy to share my experience, the knowledge I earned really with the society and educators and students, and who is really excited about this new industry. So I've been given a couple of questions. So I'm going to walk over some of those questions one by one. So the first question is about what is alternate energy or what is renewable energy? So some of the alternate or renewable energies you might have heard is solar energy, wind energy, and hydro energy. So let me start there first. Obviously, uh, very few people know this, but solar energy is really a source for wind energy. And a lot of people get surprised when I explain that to them, is because once you have a solar energy, a different part of the area gets different heated system. So if once one area of the system gets more sun and then other area, whether it's because of the cloud cover or whether it's at a different elevation or some other factors. Once you have two areas get different intensity of sun, that creates what we call as a different pressure, air pressure. And once you have the different air pressure, that's when the wind starts blowing in that direction. So that's why solar energy is actually a source for wind energy. And then hydro energy, everyone knows that the flowing water, that is also considered as renewable energy. So all these three energies, whether it's solar, wind, or hydro, they really are, they call alternate source of energy or renewable source of energy because they are, uh, you can use it again and again. So they really don't expire, or they really don't go away, just like fossil fuel. And that's really important part about alternate energy. And I'll talk about some of the other advantages this alternate source of energies has. But before I go there, there are some other sources of energy also I want to highlight. One of them is obviously geothermal. That means you capture the heat energy that is trapped under the earth. So that's definitely geothermal. Biogas, that is with the animal manure and everything, you can see basically use that energy to produce electricity. And the last one, this is a new one which is coming up, is called tidal energy. uh, for those people who have been to and seen the ocean waves, that ocean waves have a lot of energy, so you capture the energy through the tidal, from the tidal part of the ocean, and that is called tidal energy. So again, just to summarize, wind, solar, water, or hydro, these are the very common parts of the alternate energy system or renewable energy system. And somewhat less obvious are geothermal, biogas, and the now new technology, which is the tidal energy. A lot of people ask me this question, that what about nuclear energy? Is this truly a renewable energy? And I would say there are differences of opinion. I'll give you my opinion. Definitely, nuclear energy is a clean energy, because what when you get the electricity out of the nuclear power, what you get out is usually a water vapor. So yes, it is a clean energy. However, and this is important, the nuclear waste is not. It's very very dangerous form of the byproduct, and sometimes you have to be very careful about how to get rid of that nuclear waste. There are certain regulation and there are certain biohazards you can get. So again, depending on whom you talk to, nuclear energy may or may not be considered as an alternate form of energy. Definitely, I would agree that it's a clean form of energy. So that's kind of in summary what the alternate energy and clean energy are. So let's talk about the next topic, which is why alternate energy or renewable energy is so critical or necessary going forward. And I get this question all the time. And one of the things, I think we touched base on this in my previous answer, is uh, the fossil fuels, which is coal, natural gas, oil. These are all the form of energy that you have to burn that energy, and there is not an unlimited supply of that energy. So yeah, our generation may be okay, our next generation may be okay, but beyond that we don't know what happens if those form of energy that we are currently relying on, are not there anymore. How we are going to get electricity? And just for the time being, just think about it, is you don't have a sources of energy, and then but you still have, your population is growing up, your industrial growth is there. How you are going to survive? And that's a big problem we are trying to understand. And this is where the alternate form of energy or renewable form of energy is really going to help us, perhaps not to this generation but next several generation. The other thing is, it is why critical is, the fossil fuel energy has what I call as a very uh, significant impact on the environment, because most of this energy you have to burn something, and when you burn something, what you get is a carbon dioxide, right? Yes, you get electricity, but the byproduct of that is the greenhouse gases or the carbon content, and that is really really bad for the environment. Not only for the environment but for the human being also, because you will be breathing a lot of this air. So you guys have been to a lot of the big cities and you have seen burning those. If you are near a coal fire facility, the pollution in the air has been really, really bad. And that really impacts your lungs, your overall health, the water quality gets impacted. So really it's a pollution, and health is going to be a huge factor why we need renewable energy. And talk about the renewable energy or alternate energy. They are clean. uh, when you get the electricity out of solar, wind, hydro, etc., you don't get any byproduct, right? You do not have any pollution in the system. Also, most importantly, it is abundantly available, and it will be available for next millions of years. uh, I know we talk a lot about uncertainty. You don't know whether India is going to win the next test match or not, or uh, who's going to be the next one in the government of India, or anywhere in the world. We have a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. But one thing which is not uncertain is the sun is going to rise every day morning on the east side, and it's going to set on the west side. That is certainty. And that certainty is there. As long as that certainty is there, there is going to be a solar energy. And as I explained it to you before, solar energy means wind energy, and then water is going to be there, because of the sun and wind and the environmental factors, we are going to get this periodic rain. And because of that, hydro energy is going to be there. Same goes with geothermal, same goes with tidal and other source. So again, it's abundantly available, unlimited, clean, and it is also less costly to operate. Think about, if you guys have seen a coal facility, a coal power plant or natural gas, it's massive. It is not only massive, but it requires a lot of people to operate that. That means more cost. It requires more cost to build it. Whereas wind turbines and solar farms or solar panels, yes, they are expensive, but it's a one time investment. And once you make that investment, the operating cost is going to be very, very small. And that's a huge advantage, because this power plants, whether it's solar, wind, geothermal, hydro, they last for 25, 30 years without any problem. So, again, a lot of advantages for that, having that renewable energy to be start thinking about when it comes to the supplying your demand. The next question I always get is, what motivates me to be a part of this industry? So let me just go back to my history. I I'm an electrical engineer. When I completed my BE in electrical engineering from India, I came here in the United States to complete my master's degree or graduate school. And when I graduated, this was early 2000. Obviously, that is a time when IT industry was booming, even if it's booming today, right? So I obviously had that choice. In fact, 95% of my classmates and my uh, friends and everyone decided to pursue their career in IT field. I I could have done that, but I really wanted to do something different, something I enjoy doing it, something I wanted to do, something that can make a difference in not only my life but somebody else's life. And this is where I saw that the renewable industry is really coming up. This is about 15, 20 years ago, but I really felt that this is the right thing for me to do. Uh, and I think I'm glad I took that decision, because now, if you look forward, renewable industry is going to be one of the center point of the growth. Why? Because if you look at India, if you look at US, if you look at any other part of the world, about 20 to 25% of the electricity right now is coming from the renewable industry, or renewable resources, I should say. What does that mean? That means that there is tremendous growth opportunity we have. Uh, because most of the fossil fuel plants, because of their aging structure, because of the cost that requires to operate those projects or plants, they are going to start retiring, and they are most likely going to be replaced by newer technology, renewable resources. So there is a tremendous growth we have available in this particular sector, and that's really got me excited. That's really got me make my career in this field, and I'm so happy to do that. And the last thing is, I personally wanted to work on something which I can see with my hands, see and feel it and touch it, right? When you work on some of this project, you can go in front of that project, stand and see what you have done for your own career, but most importantly what you have done for your environment, for your next generation. And I think that sense of satisfaction you get, that really attracted me from this industry. And last thing is about, you know doing something which is also economically viable. Let me give you a classic example of my own house here in the US. We put a solar panels on our roof about 4 years ago or 3 years ago, and it is right now supplying all the electricity that we consume for our house. Not only that, I get this information every month. They have obviously a app there, and on that app I can see that uh, how much trees I have saved because I'm using the electricity directly from my roof. And most importantly, I have paid nothing for my electricity bill since I put the solar panels on my roof. So that's just a one small example what a renewable industry can do for you economically, other than obviously the factors that I mentioned about doing something right, doing something which is gets you more excited. So that's really why I am here and doing in this industry, and I pursue my career in this particular part of the field for next several years. The other question I get is, okay, so we understand what excites you or what motivates you to join this field. So what are you doing right now? So I work for a company called Soul Systems, which is based in Washington DC. What we do is we are what we call as a project developers. That means we select a site which basically is appropriate for a solar generation, or now we are also doing the energy storage, which I again can talk for the advantages of that in a second. So we start our process with selecting a right size or right site for the solar project. That means we'll have to look at different areas and find out the site which is most appropriate for the solar. Once we decide on the site, we build a solar projects on that particular site, and then we sell that energy to either local government or some big corporation or some big industrial load, and then we own and operate that solar farm for, I would say, 25, 30 years. So that's our business model. So that's kind of my company's business model. My role in this company is really lead what I call as a development team. So I have a team of about 20, 25 people. So my team really works hard to find the right site. Then we go through different technical studies process. We also engage with the local communities, make sure they are comfortable when we bring the project uh, uh, to their community. We also make sure that the project gets financed. We make sure that this project has a buyer at the end of the day, without which we cannot finance the project. Then we construct the project. That means we have a lot of construction teams here. And once we construct, then we operate the plant. That means we manage the plant, we do the maintenance of the plant. So you can see it's a soup to nut, right from selecting a site to taking the project to the operation and also maintaining that site and operating it for 25, 30 years. So that's what we are really doing here at Soul System, and that's really my job. Uh, the other question I always get is, okay, so I heard about renewable industry. I heard about alternate sources of energy. I heard your job. What are some of the job opportunities we have? And this is really a great question to answer, because uh, there is no one particular field that we really want to folks should come and join our industry. There are multiple areas where you can find jobs. So let me start with finding a site. Right, I mentioned it to you. Finding a site require a lot of strategy, a lot of research, because we want to make sure the site we are choosing is really appropriate, because we want to choose the right site which has the right attributes, and it gives you the right return on our investment. So there is a lot of research involved. So if you are into research and development field, if you are in the technology, the future technology that excites you, we need people like that, because we need someone who is doing a lot of research, giving us the right appropriate input so that our projects truly is successful in the long run. So the technology research side is very heavy. Then it comes to engineering, because as you can see, we build physical projects. So we need someone with the electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, chemical engineering. So we need a lot of engineers. So if engineer is your passion, we have a lot of jobs in that field. Computer programmers, I know a lot of people go in the software, but we also use a lot of software programs to optimize, design, automate some of our calculations. So we need a lot of coding requirement. So computer engineers are also required by our industry, but predominantly that is not our need. That is more of a support need. But yes, if you are into computers and if you want to be a part of an industry, absolutely you can uh, join and see some jobs in this particular field. Then comes finance, because I mentioned, right, our projects are very capital intensive. That means you have to bring a lot of capital upfront, and raising the capital is a big thing. Financial models, because we have to show our investors the what we call as a pro forma performance of financial model. So building the financial model, which is very complex task, we really need those people with a lot of finance background. So if your finance is your forte, please, our industry needs you. And the last couple of things is legal, like, because as I mentioned to you, one of a part of our job is also finding who is going to buy the uh, project's output or project's energy from us, whether it's going to be the industrial customer, whether it's going to be government, it's going to be local utility, or combination of those. So every time we get into that discussion, we enter into what we call as a very specific legal contract. We also need a lot of permits. We also need a lot of studies which are have some lot of legal implication or compliance. So legal or the law degree also is very important for our business. And the last thing is the marketing. Like, we have to show that why our product or why our company is more trustworthy. Believe it or not, but this particular industry has become very, very competitive. And as you can see, it's a solar energy, it's a wind energy, it's a hydro energy. So how are you going to tell that my solar energy is better than somebody else's solar energy, right? Because solar is solar, wind is wind. So the way we differentiate ourselves is create some unique value proposition for our potential clients, and this is where your marketing people can come really handy. Whether if your sales and marketing is your passion, we definitely need those people, because we have to show that why somebody should trust our company or our product as against somebody else's product, right? So good solid websites, good marketing message, a good value proposition, bringing some unique things for our communities where we are building this project. Those are all very, very important things that we really truly look at it. So again, in summary, as you can see, We are not really looking for a particular type of background. We are looking for engineers, we are looking for someone who is good at research and development field, someone who is really good at finance, legal, marketing. So we are open to all of the above. And again, it's really really exciting field, and it's really really exciting time, I should say, to look at our industry, because this, in my opinion, is going to be the next big thing that you're going to see, because this world needs more renewable energy. This world is going to rely on what you do today, and you're going to start seeing that not just in India, not just in US, but all over the world. One last thing I would say is I always often get this question. Well, renewable energy is intermittent. That means when the wind is blowing, or solar is shining, yes, we get electricity. But what about nighttime? What about wind suddenly stops blowing? And that's a really interesting question we always get. But this is where what we are doing right now, and this also needs a lot of research, a lot of calculations, a lot of programming, is we are trying to see that, once, if the wind is not blowing or when the sun is not shining, we want to store some of this excess energy when the sun is shining and wind is blowing into what we call as a battery system. So nowadays most of our projects have a combination of solar, wind, and even energy storage. So what we are doing is during the daytime, when the sun is shining and we are producing more energy than what we need, we are storing that excess energy into the energy storage. And once the sun sets down or suddenly wind stop blowing, then we are using that solar storage energy to supply our load. And that's how we are trying to make sure that we have the continuous supply of energy that you need. Here is one interesting fact that I want to share with you. Oftentimes people think that when you need the most energy is during the afternoon time, maybe between 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., because that's when it's really going to be hot temperature. But that's actually not true. The real peak energy demand that you get is usually around 7 or 8 p.m. And often people ask me, why is that? Is that not when the sun is already set and you already kind of started getting cooled down? Yes, to both the questions. But a very interesting fact is around between 6 and 8 p.m., that is when people start coming back home. They start turning on their air conditioning, and the temperature is not that cold. So really, that is the time when people need most of the energy. And this is where the energy storage, if you pair it with solar or wind, is really going to be very impactful, because the sun is setting up at that time. You're not going to get most of the solar energy, and this is when you're going to get that excess energy that you store during the day to use it during this late afternoon, evening time. Hope you find this interesting. I always like to give some of this very specific examples to make it more interesting. But again, in summary, renewable energy or alternate energy is a really, really interesting, it's really interesting way of thinking about your energy source of energies going forward. And it's really going to help our environment. It's really going to help your energy independence, and it's going to help the health and the climate of this thing. So hope you enjoy this little bit of explanation and information from me. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to help you, guide you, mentor you, whatever way I can help you. All the best. Thank you.